we have a tree here. It's a dead tree. And there's a little tiny bit of a sprout there. What's the story about this tree? What is it?
Right, so this is, well, this big stump here is what remains of an American chestnut, Castanea dentata, and we do have a little sprout off of the old stump here of a new one. So, right here, and you can see the dentate leaves, which is where it gets a specific epithet.
And it's in the same family as oaks.
Right. And so, yeah, why do we have this dead tree here? Well, it's kind of a sad story. Around the turn of the century, a disease came through and wiped out, you know, this once very prominent and abundant species. And yeah, sort of, it attacks elder, or I guess mature, it's a fungal disease. It attacks mature bark of mature trees and does this to them.
And so all we have are stump sprouts that occasionally get big enough to set fruit. Oops. I might have been pointing to an oak. Sorry, oak. Yeah, and there's a lot of programs to try to reestablish the chestnut with selective breeding and planting. Here's a tree that is sort of unusual. It's called white walnut, or more frequently it's called butternut. And butternut, Juglans cinerea, it's in the same genus as black walnut, but it's a different species. It's kind of endangered. It's more of a northern species that was never super common in Ohio, and it's evidently susceptible to some sort of a fungus that harms the twigs and kills the trees eventually. It's a little difficult to distinguish from black walnut. The fruits are oblong instead of being round, and it more often has a terminal leaflet. And it's super easy to identify from the twigs. So it's easier to identify in the winter than the summer. Juglans cinerea. One of the things that I'm accustomed to doing when I'm in a hemlock stand is to grab the branches and look on the undersurface. Not for a happy reason. It turns out that some hemlocks in parts of the eastern United States are affected with an insect called the hemlock woolly adelgid. And periodically people conduct surveys of the hemlock trees in Ohio, look into the undersurface to see, and hope you don't see, little powdery cottony clusters on the undersurfaces of the branches, which are the hemlock woolly adelgid. Fortunately, this hemlock doesn't seem to have it. It's still uncommon in Ohio, but where there's a lot of concern that it might endanger the hemlocks. It's an insect pest of trees.